All right, let's talk about AI. We're going to look at the whole picture today. The incredible promise, the life-saving stuff, but also the very real peril when things go sideways. And then we'll get into the process that kind of connects both sides of that coin. So yeah, let's just dive right in.
So let's start with a really powerful image. Picture this. A massive earthquake just rocked a remote area. It's total chaos on the ground, and every single second is critical. So the big question is, how on earth do you find people, survivors, who might be trapped under rubble across this huge, devastated landscape? Well, the answer, more and more, is coming from way up high, from an AI looking down from space.
And it's not just about looking down from space for human crises either. That exact same kind of AI-powered vision, it's being put to work right here on the ground too. It's actually becoming this digital guardian for some of the most vulnerable creatures on our planet.
Okay, so this brings us to the first big piece of the puzzle today, AI as this incredible force for good. I mean, we are really talking about technology that's unlocking potential that honestly felt like something out of a movie just a few years ago.
And look, this isn't just some far-off idea. This is happening right now. In a disaster zone, an AI can whip through thousands of satellite photos in just minutes. I mean, a task that would take a team of humans days, looking for those crucial signs of life. And in wildlife parks, you've got these smart cameras that can tell the difference between a poacher and, say, a rhino, and they can send an alert to the rangers instantly. We're talking about stopping a crime before it even happens. It's amazing. And that's really the big point, isn't it? This isn't theoretical anymore. We are way past that. AI is literally on the front lines, making a real, tangible, and yeah, often life-saving difference out in the world. But, okay, here's the pivot. A system that's powerful enough to do all that good? Well, it's also powerful enough to make some really catastrophic mistakes. Think about it, a self-driving car that gets it wrong. An algorithm that unfairly denies someone a loan because its data is biased. So when it all goes wrong, who's responsible? Who do you point the finger at?
And that leads us right to the heart of the peril with AI. It's this huge question of accountability. When a decision isn't made by a person, but by some super complex algorithm, who's on the hook? Where does the buck stop?
So let's be super clear about what we're even talking about here. Accountability in AI. It's a pretty simple idea, but it's also incredibly profound. It's the principle that we can't just throw our hands up and go, well, the computer did it. Nope. Someone, a person, a team, a company, has to be responsible for what the AI does and what happens because of it. And this is exactly why it's so critical. I mean, take accidents. We need to know who's liable when a self-driving car crashes. Is it the owner, the company that made it? Then there's bias. We've got to make sure these systems are fair, that they're not just baking in and amplifying old prejudices. But really, it all boils down to mistrust, right? If there aren't clear lines of who's responsible, how can any of us ever really trust this technology? We can't, and we need that trust bring it into our lives safely. Okay, so how do we do it? How do we build AI that's actually accountable? Well, it all starts with understanding how these things think. It sounds a little weird, but if we're going to hold an AI responsible, we've got to get a handle on the basic process it uses to even make a decision in the first place. Which brings us to the last part of our journey today. We're going to take a little peek inside the digital mind. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the actual mechanics of how an AI knows anything at all. And this is where it gets really fascinating. Think about how we understand things. It's all intuition, context. We learn from just living, from all our messy experiences, right? Well, an AI just can't do that. It needs everything to be organized. It needs structured, logical information. An AI doesn't have a gut feeling. It just has data and a set of rules. And that need for structure, that brings us to a really key concept called knowledge representation. The best way to think about it is like building a perfect digital library for the AI, or maybe a super detailed rulebook. It's basically the whole process of taking all the chaotic information from the real world and translating it into a clean, organized format that a computer can actually understand and use. And it really just boils down to a pretty simple three-step dance. First, the AI takes in raw data, just information from the world. Second, it organizes all that messy info into a neat structure it can understand. And finally, third, it applies its rules, its logic, to that organized information to make a decision. That's it. Receive, organize, apply. And that right there, that's the key. That's the bedrock of accountability. See, because the whole process is built on structured data and clear logic, you can actually trace a decision backwards. You can look under the hood and audit the steps it took. And that foundation is what lets us ask the most important question: why did the AI make that choice? And asking why is always the first step to accountability.
So this is where we're left. This is the big challenge ahead. AI is getting crazy good and crazy fast at knowing things, at just soaking up and processing information. The real question for all of us, for the people building this stuff, for the people making the rules, for society as a whole, is this: how do we make sure our systems for accountability can keep up? How do we make sure they evolve just as fast? That's the puzzle we all have to figure out now.